Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Ellie Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood.
Why are you so happy? What?
What?
This is weird. I don't know. Is this 2018 the year of optimism? Has it lasted?
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm excited. Sorry, it just blew my mind. You were so happy.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about The Wicked and the Divine, Volume 1, The Faust Act. Am I saying that right? The Faust Act.
I think it's Faust.
The Faust Act. So, you know, that's a comic book. You can look forward to that later. First, it's catching up with Ellie and Liam. So, how's it going, Ellie?
I crashed my car. I told everyone at work about the transition and tons of other stuff. It's all exciting over here, Liam.
Right, well, there's a lot to dive into there.
Yeah?
Let's start with
Which
the car,
bit?
shall we?
What about the car? Just crashed it again, didn't I?
Again, so this is the second time in how many months?
About 6.
About 6 months. Okay. Not great, though.
No, but it's not as bad.
As what?
Like twice in a week.
Yeah, I guess.
So positives.
Your insurance is going to be interesting.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I might just stop driving.
How does this keep happening?
I don't know.
Because that's concerning.
No, well, it's not. The thing is, Liam, it's all learning experiences.
Do you remember when you first got your car?
Yeah.
And we were talking about the sat-nav and how ridiculously placed it is?
Yeah, and how both times I've crashed my car are when the sat-nav's not been on.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if that had anything to do with it.
No, not at all.
So you can't even use that as an excuse?
No, I just crashed my car. It wasn't a bad crash, this one.
Well, that's good.
Not as bad as the first one.
Yeah, but...
No, it's just that.
So, okay, what this time, what happened?
I reversed into someone's car at a supermarket.
Well, and how did they react?
They were angry.
Oh, were they?
Their exact words were, "How the fuck did you not see my car?" To which I responded, "I don't know, I'm sorry."
Wow. That's the thing that almost like would worry me the most, is how that person would react.
I mean, the simple way of like not dealing with it, because it's just my natural way of reacting, but like if you're apologetic, which I am, I've never understood the idea of like, you know, there's that sort of, there are people who have an accident and then try and blame the other person when it's their fault.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, oh God, how could you have been so stupid?"
Well, I think if it's 100% your fault, you have to own it, right?
But I probably would anyway. Someone could crash into me and I'd probably tell them I'm really sorry.
Oh, you shouldn't do that. Apparently that could be bad for your insurance.
Well, I mean, that the insurance isn't going to know if I say that to the person. If I was on the phone to my insurance people and it was the other person's fault, I'd tell them.
I'm sure I heard somewhere that if you're involved in an accident and you like something about admission to it.
Yeah, but that's but that's what I'm saying. They don't take admission on the scene, which is you talking to the other person.
Okay.
It's when you phone your insurance people, they say, "Was it your fault?"
And you say yes.
Yeah, both times I've said yes.
Yeah, and they've just kind of gone.
No, they just go, "Okay, we'll deal with it."
Fair enough. The only time I've been like involved in anything remote like that was when I accidentally like bumped a car in front of me when traffic was really busy on a roundabout. But it was like at such a speed that you could have probably walked into the car faster.
Yeah.
But he wasn't happy, to be honest. He got out.
Was there any damage on his car?
Nothing. I was
But he
going
still wasn't
so
happy?
slow. Well, I bumped and it rocked his car a bit and he got out. And then he was like, "Oh, there's no damage." And then he was okay.
Fair enough.
But yeah, okay, so you need to be better with your driving.
Yep, I now know 2 things not to do while driving.
Which are?
Reverse too fast and don't ever turn right at a crossroads without checking, double checking to make sure there's no cars.
How do you reverse too fast?
I went too fast.
But like, did you accelerate reverse?
Yeah.
How fast
Yeah,
were you
what?
going? Oh,
Sorry, do you only use the clutch?
Yeah, for me I do, because I drive an automatic.
We don't have a clutch.
Well, yeah, you do.
Well, you don't.
Your brake and clutch are essentially the same pedal, but so.
No, Liam, no. I'm not going to let that slide.
Yeah.
When you press a clutch down, it disconnects the gears,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
When you press the brake, it stops your car moving. If your clutch and your brake are effectively the same thing, you need to go and get your car sorted.
No,
'cause
so
that is
right.
dangerous.
Okay, so in an automatic, right? You know how normally when you drive, you get the clutch to the braking point and all that sort of bullshit.
Yeah, an automatic also automatically does that, right? You go into drive and it will slowly creep you forward.
Right, you control that creep using the brake essentially.
Yeah, no, but that's just you braking. That's not it acting as a
but-
clutch. That's
but-
you stopping it creeping by pressing the brake.
Yeah, so that's how you reverse with it.
Yeah, is it automatically rolls you? But that's very slow.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said. So
silly.
if I was to then push the accelerator, I would reverse very fast. So I don't do that.
You're missing out on a lot of thrills in life.
And crashes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. You know how like you passed your driving test like years and years ago,
Yeah.
and then you were like, "I'm going to get a car," and we were all like, "You should probably do another driving lesson," and just sort of.
Yeah, and then I did.
Yeah, yeah. How did that not help, or like what happened?
I mean, the thing is, Liam, it's all well and good being all high and mighty, right?
Yeah.
But one, you don't drive at night.
I do.
So you shouldn't.
Yeah, I know, but I do.
Right, well, stop doing that.
Nah.
Two, you drive like an old man.
Yeah, I do.
So, like, it's very easy to be like, oh, how are you crashing so much when you're not crashing? But you're going to eventually, Liam, you're going to have an accident.
Oh, yeah,
And
I'm sure.
when you come to me for help and you call me and you say, Ellie, I've broken my legs, I need assistance, the hospital's not answering, I'm worried, you need to come get me, I'm going to laugh and I'm going to say, no, remember when you laughed at me for reversing into a car? I refuse.
Yeah, I mean, if I get into a hospital and have my legs broken by reversing into a car, that would be impressive.
Yeah, it would be insane.
Yeah. The thing, I don't want to jinx myself.
Yeah, well, I hope you do.
But
just so
I
you learn a
have
lesson
been driving
about
like
not being a
over
dick.
10 years now, and the most serious crash I had was that little tiny bump that I just mentioned where there was no damage.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, right, everyone can go for periods of times like that.
Oh yeah, all it takes is one bad crash and then you can
Yeah,
die.
like the amount of time you've been driving doesn't really... I mean, it probably does correlate to, like, the likelihood of you crashing, but it doesn't stop you crashing just
well,
because
that's
you've been driving 10
why
years.
your insurance is higher in the first year, because that's when you're most likely to crash and stuff.
Yeah, there we go. I'm still in that range.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just doing the expected, Liam.
Yeah, that's going to be so expensive next time.
I just might stop paying insurance and just not drive.
Okay. That's going to make life harder, isn't it?
I mean, it would, but also, if I can't afford to pay the insurance, that'd be it.
Yeah, but then how are you going to get to me?
You'll have to start coming to me.
But you live with your parents.
You can still stay here, Liam.
It would be weird.
You've always said you want to meet my parents.
I do, but I don't want to, like, have a sleepover with them.
They wouldn't sleep over with you.
Why not? It's a legit question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you'd freak them out a little bit after a while.
No, I'm very polite around parents.
Yeah, but not around me, and I would be asking all the weird questions.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Kempster. How are you? How's life at the office? How's those burn victims doing? Just small talk, innit?
Very good. You did such a good job there.
This is going to sound really weird to anyone that doesn't know the occupations of your parents.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah. What else you been up to?
Came out of work.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That all went well?
Yep, all fine.
Good.
Oh, I had my actual NHS appointment about it.
What about coming out at work?
No, the actual NHS appointment for like the GIC, the Gender Identity Clinic.
Oh, okay. How did that go?
Well,
What does that mean?
it went well. Like,
Oh!
it was what I
Right, so I thought you meant like well, as in you were about to then be like, not so good.
Oh no, sorry, yeah, it went well, as in it went like exactly, or well, pretty much how I thought it would go.
Which is?
Them being like, we don't give hormones on the first visit, and I went, yeah, I know, that's why I'm private, because I knew you wouldn't give them to me.
Yeah.
Then they were like, oh, okay, well, we prefer if people do it in our order, and I went, that's fine, I haven't, because I'm not waiting to. I said to him, I was like, I wasn't gonna wait a year and a half
Yeah.
extra just because the NHS takes so much longer than everyone else.
And what did
And
they
were
say
like,
to
"Oh,
that?
right." She went, yeah, that's fair. And I was like, yeah, because everyone, like half their clients probably do it.
I mean, if you can afford to, right? What's stopping you?
No, exactly, yeah. That's
That's
the
what it
thing.
comes
It's
down
all-
to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I imagine it's cheaper
It's
to
because
do
they've got to
through
have
the
their own
NHS.
people check you. So they're like worried that a private doctor, I imagine they're worried, would just be like, sure, go for it. But like, I went to one who had all the psychological checks and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
fuck it.
Like through the NHS, is it free essentially, or do you still pay?
Yeah, it'd be the, like getting prescribed anything by the NHS.
Right, so you just pay the prescription cost.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not so bad, I guess.
Nope, that's fine.
So, right, if you start doing the private stuff,
Mhm.
and then the year and a half goes, and they're like, cool, can you then like switch to having it with them so it's cheaper?
Yeah, that's effectively what the private people are used for, and there probably are people that just stay private, but
Yeah.
that's what, I imagine most of the private doctors' clients are doing that.
Okay.
Using it as it's called a bridging service, where you're filling the gap
Yeah.
between the NHS, because the NHS is super underfunded on this and other stuff,
Yeah.
but also on this.
I mean, on a lot of stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
I was, bizarrely enough, I think yesterday, I was watching this interview. Like the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like I know a lot of people that are like, I like him, but I'm not convinced.
I think his podcast is interesting, and I think they sometimes discuss interesting topics on it. But I saw one of his stand-ups on Netflix, and it was really bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was terrible. But anyway, so I was watching this thing, and it had Mel Gibson of all people on, and they were talking about Mel Gibson's dad was 92 and was having loads of hip problems or something, and they took him out of America down to Panama to do some like stem cell stuff.
Yeah,
because it wasn't getting like the whole FDA approval thing it has to do in America, but down in Panama, apparently there's like lots of doctors that are basically working down there because they're not so restricted, particularly with like stem cells. There's this there's a lot of controversy in America about that, with the whole like babies have rights and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, and he was just sort of advocating like how successful the treatment was and all this sort of stuff, which was obviously interesting to me because stem cell treatment is one of the areas they're looking at to fix the eye problem I've got. But yeah, so this was just like to do hip thing, and it's one of those things that I've heard about but didn't really know a lot about, and it was an interesting discussion. Like they had a doctor on as well that was kind of providing the medical explanation of it all.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like, it was really interesting seeing it come from someone like Mel Gibson, who nowadays isn't really associated with being a particularly positive voice.
No.
So yeah, I can't remember how I got to... Oh yeah, so I've had one of the comments on the YouTube channel was saying, and it made some sort of sense, that because particularly in America, the whole like pharmaceutical industry is so profit focused, and the whole like medical industry is built around essentially making money. They were saying one of the reasons why America is so keen to like put all these restrictions in place for things like stem cells is that they don't really want to be curing diseases. They just want to be treating them, getting them manageable, and getting people relying on medicine for them.
Yeah, see, I hear
it's
this
huge, like conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's a huge one, and it's one that I think is just stupid.
It's
right?
Crazy
because it's like the whole like the like theoretical cure for cancer, where people were like, oh, the government's probably already cured it, and they're just keeping it back, and you're like, well, what? Just the government are keeping it back so that the pharmaceutical industry makes money, but that doesn't help the government because then their population slowly dies, which is income tax and taxed in all sorts of ways.
But surely
it cannot be worth it.
Overpopulation problems already.
I don't think the government are worried about overpopulation.
Do you not? Because surely that
no,
plays
obviously
into
not. Because the government makes money off populations.
But if there's not enough jobs and all this sort of stuff, and then you've got like rising issues with that, and then you've got more people reliant on the state for job seekers allowance and all that sort of stuff, surely that kind of does become a bit of an issue for them.
I don't think it does. Also, think about what you're saying, Liam. You're suggesting that the government is willingly killing people, which is ridiculous.
Well, it's one of those things where it's not like they're willingly, they're just
no, that would be
allowing it to happen.
Yeah, which is the same, Liam, in that situation. If you have a cure for cancer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I believe that conspiracy theory. I just think it's like
Liam, here's the thing with conspiracy theories. You know me. I'm always up for a devil's advocate argument.
Yeah.
With conspiracy theories, it is not helpful. It is only harmful, because the thing with conspiracy theorists is the moment they hear an argument that helps their side, they will listen to it. And the moment anyone is like, "Oh no, here's the completely logical reason that doesn't make sense and that you're wrong," they just tune out and they're like, "No."
That's what
everyone in the government knows everything. Satan's in charge of the government.
Is he?
I imagine a lot of them think that.
I find the YouTube comment section fascinating, like horrifying but fascinating.
It's just sad. It's weird.
That's what I don't understand is the amount of effort it takes someone to like leave a comment, which I know like in the grand scheme of things it's minimal effort, but it takes time and like maybe effort's the wrong word. But you have to make this like very deliberate decision to be like, I'm going to leave this either bonkers or like hate-filled or ridiculous comment. Like there's a certain process in place there to get the mind to be like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
No, it is really, really weird.
I feel like I've maybe left a YouTube comment like once or twice in my entire life, and usually it's just something like, really enjoyed this video.
I genuinely, I think I remember the one comment I've ever left.
Okay.
I think it was on a video about space elevators.
Of course.
And it was just me arguing with someone who said they wouldn't work for a certain reason, and then just me explaining why they would.
What's a space elevator?
It's a thing that's attached to the Earth and would go all the way up to space, and it would attach to something in space.
Right.
It's a cheap way of getting things into orbit effectively.
Okay.
They work, is the thing. The theory behind it works. And someone was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I was like, here's why it makes sense. And then I did it in a very Ellie way. And they were like, you're a dickhead. And I was like, I'm not trying to be.
So another thing that just genuinely fascinates me is how many people seem to subscribe to this whole flat earth theory. And I'm like, surely most of them just have to be trolling, right?
No, I think it's a vocal minority thing. Like,
yeah, but I mean,
I think there's only a few people who actually believe in flat Earth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of people that talk about it, but surely the majority are trolling.
No, but I mean, I don't even think there's that many that are talking about it.
Do you not?
No.
It seems to be quite prevalent lately. Like,
but that's the thing. That's the thing. It's interesting. I think it's an interesting thing. It's hilarious for people who don't believe in flat Earth, right? To talk about. Like, I can think of nothing more fun than ripping apart flat Earth arguments, which I've weirdly, like in the last 2 months, I think I've sat down at a table with my friends at meals and stuff, and it's somehow come up, not through me, and then I get to spend 10 minutes explaining a lot of the conspiracies. Like, not even, I take on the role of a flat earther because I find it funny.
Yeah.
And then I just loudly shout at my friends about how the sky is a LCD screen.
Of course, that makes sense. It's like Truman Show.
But so that's what I mean. Like, I think people find it funny to talk about, and it's it's interesting because it's so ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So that means that people like Joe Rogan get on people who know flat Earth or talk about flat Earth because it's interesting, and that means that you hear more of it.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's only a few. There's a very, very small minority of people that actually think that. I don't think there are that many people trolling. I think there probably are people that do it. But probably the main voices on YouTube and stuff, I don't think they're trolls. I think they genuinely believe it.
Well, I think the thing with Joe Rogan is I don't listen to a lot of his stuff, but the one time where I've listened to his podcast like from beginning to end is any time he has what's his name? Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Anytime he's on, I will listen to the whole podcast. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I think what I like about Joe Rogan is he's very willing to listen, and he'll ask like interesting questions, which for someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson makes for a great like show. But then there's other guests he gets on where they're like these alt-right activists and all that shit, and I'm just like, I don't need you to be like for me, I don't need to watch you give them like validation and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's kind of why I struggle with him, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, we've gone way off topic. Moving on. What else you been up to?
Nothing. That's me done.
I made a noise in Kat's ear earlier. I went in her ear really loudly, and she yelled at me.
Anything else?
My garden's haunted.
Okay, tell me about this, Liam.
Right, a couple of just weird things have been happening. So, in case people haven't listened to every single episode and they're a bit confused.
Sorry.
What?
Who hasn't done that?
I don't know, but just in case.
Yeah, got you.
If you maybe listened to like an episode, I don't know, in our early days, and then you just for whatever reason jumped into this episode, let me catch you up. I moved. I no longer have Spartan fish in my garden. It's not them that are haunting me.
Oh my goodness, because that was my first immediate thought was, well, you were accidentally sort of mean to your fish.
But I'm now in a different garden.
Is it possible that the ghosts of the fish have followed you though?
How? They would have to swim to this garden, and there's no way they could do that.
But they're ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts can't.
Do you think ghosts are confined by those rules?
I don't know, like ghost fish. How are they going to know how to find me?
Yeah, that's true.
Within like 3 seconds, they'd forget.
That's true.
That's actually bullshit because
yeah,
my nan used to have a goldfish, and she would feed it every single day at the same time, and it learned what time was feeding time.
Yeah, they did an experiment in a lab and did the same thing, but with like a little bell or not a bell, but a noise they played, and then fed the fish, and the fish would react to the noise because they knew food was coming. It's just one of those weird things that people say, Liam. But tell me about what weird things have happened.
Slight sidetrack here. I went to my local Chinese place with Kat the other day.
Okay.
We go in there so much, right, that like the manager came over, shook our hands, wished us a happy new year, and then on the menu it has like ask about our chef specials.
Yeah.
So I got Kat to ask, and he was like, I don't know why that's on there. We haven't done that for months. And then he's like, but for you guys, I'll get the kitchen to cook you up something special that's not on the menu. And he went off, and we got this like bespoke dish made for us.
That's so...
It's amazing.
You sound so happy.
It was amazing.
And I just want you to know how sad this sounds.
No, I reckon there's a lot of listeners going like out there that'll be like, shit, I wish my local Chinese place loved me that much.
No, but the thing is, I imagine our listeners out there are picturing some sort of like, you know, like LA Chinese restaurant where all the cool people are going, and they're like, whoa, these people know the manager.
Yeah, well, shut the fuck up. Let's not ruin that image for them.
No, because I am.
Nah.
You're in the countryside.
Don't worry
It's
about
a very
it.
nice restaurant,
Don't worry
but it's
about it.
not that, you know.
We'll be going there soon. Don't worry about
They're
it.
probably just amazed because you're the only clients they've got under the age of 50.
They're like, if we get these come in a lot, most of our regulars, they've got another 5-10 years max. We
Exactly.
could squeeze these for 40 more years. And anyway, the reason why I was reminded of that is because we were sat next to a big fish tank there, and I was eating, and there was a fish doing a poo right next to my head. I pointed that out to Kat, and she was not amused.
My God, so many of the stories today are just you and Kat not being amused at you. Tell me about the haunted garden.
It's a recurring theme. Anyway, do you know what a water butt is?
No, what?
So we have a thing called a water butt in our garden, which is
A
like...
water butt.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
B-U-T-T.
I guess.
Fair enough.
It's like a big green bin, essentially, but for like collecting water. I think it's...
Oh,
BUTT.
okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Right.
Yeah. It is BUTT. Yeah, imagine like a big green barrel, essentially.
Yeah.
So we've got one of those in our garden. I don't know why. Like we've invented accommodations, so we've got weird shit that isn't necessarily ours.
Yeah.
And the way our garden works is you've got like a shed down the end of it, and then there's a little area like at the back of the shed, and then a little bit that goes along the side of the shed, and then you've got like the main garden, essentially.
Yeah.
So the water butt was down behind the back of the shed. We woke up one morning, and it was literally in the middle of the garden.
Okay.
That's weird, right?
Okay, tell me some other stuff that's happened.
There was a dustpan and brush that found its way into the garden, and you know those dustpan and brush you get where the brush clips like into the handle of the dustpan. That was just placed in the middle of the garden. Now, if that had been like thrown over the fence or whatever, the landing of it would have probably separated the handle and the brush, right?
Yeah, maybe.
And the water butt's huge, so that's not just moving by itself.
Okay, so my like counter proposal to the water butt
Yeah.
would be to our American listeners, in England we've had quite a bit of wind and quite not extreme weather, like
No,
obviously
okay,
you guys get tornadoes.
But where it sits, it's got a shed, like literally it's right next to a shed, and then there's a fence on either side of it, and it's like in a little like narrow path.
Yeah, but
it
that
would
might
have
just
to,
be funneling the wind.
Yeah, but it would have to, right? Go down that path, around the corner, and then all the way like past the side of the shed to end up in the middle of the garden.
Okay, that's quite spooky. It's probably not a ghost, Liam, is the good news. It might be a serial killer, is the bad news.
See, that's the thing, is I thought I heard a noise out there the other night.
Oh, well, that's terrifying. Were you downstairs?
Yeah.
Oh my God, did you just immediately run upstairs and hide behind Kat?
No, I realised that if I was ever in a horror movie, I'd die really quickly, because...
You didn't go and look?
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong with you?
I didn't go out there, but we have a little light that I can operate from the living room, so I turned the light on and peeked out the curtains.
Oh God, you did the peek?
Yeah.
What if someone had just been standing there,
I'd have shit myself.
looking at you?
I'd have shit myself.
That's my nightmare. God, that's horrible.
Well, so the way I was thinking was Kat was in bed, and I was like, I'd rather know now if someone's there, because I can yell up to her to call for help while I grapple them.
Sorry,
And they
just the
inevitably
image of you
kill me.
grappling someone popped into my head there.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was me.
No, they would inevitably end up killing me, but at least Kat would have a chance. Otherwise, if I'd
that's
just
quite
gone up
nice
to
of you.
bed, they could have snuck in and killed us both.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm weird. Like, the way my brain works in those situations isn't the way my brain works any other time.
No, yeah, because that's quite brave of you, and also quite nice of you.
It's like...
Which are two things that I don't particularly attribute to you.
No, it's like, I don't know if I think I discussed this on the podcast, but way back when I was living in the other house, I was there by myself one night. I'd been watching a movie. It was like 3 a.m. I'd been watching a movie in the dark, so the lights were off, and there was a knock on the door.
I think you have mentioned this before, but it just gave me chills because that's horrifying.
So, but the way my brain worked was I have to answer the door, because what if that's someone who's trying to, like, who wants to burgle the house and they're checking to see if the house is empty?
Yeah, see, that's a horrible dilemma you were in there. What did you do? Did you answer the door?
Yeah.
Who was it?
someone claiming to be like a cab driver, but I've got no idea if that was legit or not.
Yeah, so it could have been someone casing.
Yeah. So I don't know if I did the right thing or not in that situation, but I didn't get burgled. So
I think you did do the right thing. I think the chances of it being a killer seem low.
yeah. And the thing
this is like when I was in the uni house, and when I was alone in the uni house, I would take a kitchen knife up to my room and just have it on my bedside table because I was I was like, well, if someone breaks in,
yeah,
like, I don't care how weird that makes me look if the guys come back and are like, why is the kitchen knife here? Because I would look a lot sillier if I didn't have the kitchen knife and someone broke in and murdered me.
See, I wouldn't like to do it with a kitchen knife, but if I could get like an aluminium baseball bat or something.
Yeah, I didn't have a baseball bat.
No, I don't have one, and every time I talk about it, I think to myself, oh, I should get one just in case, but I never do.
You've got the fake Negan bat.
Yeah, but that's not going to do a lot, is it? It's fake.
But if you held that up, they might just at a glance be like, oh god.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, so anyway...
listeners, just some advice. Don't kill anyone by accident because of us, please.
Also, yeah, is my garden haunted?
It could be. I am more creeped out than I was.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
No, I think it's good.
Okay.
I mean, you know me, I'm like a skeptic.
Yeah, but I don't really want to have a creepy garden.
Amanda's managed to do it. You've sort of convinced me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't want to have a creepy garden is the difference. I was kind of hoping that you'd be like, here's the logical explanations for all this and there's nothing to worry about.
Well, I gave you it and it was wind, and then you told me that it can't have been the wind, so now I'm like, well, I don't know.
I mean, the water bat's really big as well. Like, I don't know how the wind would have moved it.
Did it have water in it?
I don't think so.
See, because that's still... It
It's
genuinely
big,
could be
but
wind.
it might not be too heavy.
Because, like, you know, the table tennis table in our garden falls over a lot, and chairs get blown down our garden.
Yeah. We end up with a lot of balls in the garden, but I assume that's just like the neighbourhood kids, like, losing their balls. Like not like footballs, but like little tiny balls. Could be a ghost.
Well, like tennis balls?
That sort of size, yeah.
Okay. I mean, if it's a ghost, you know, the good news is it's just moving stuff at the moment. And if it's a poltergeist, that means that it's only doing... You're in the minor phase at the moment, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't communicate with it, is what I've heard.
Okay.
Don't try and make contact, because that'll just escalate it.
Yeah.
And if it comes into your house, move.
But the other thing, I guess, is if it is a ghost, does that not mean that there's an afterlife of some sort?
Not necessarily.
What?
You can get ghosts without an afterlife.
How?
Oh, residual hauntings?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's where, like, the energy of a person imprints on a place. So, like, you know when you get ghosts that, like, repeat something, like a certain action every night? Like, every night I see a woman walk down the corridor with a candle.
Yeah.
And she doesn't interact with people, she just does that. That's, like, supposedly spiritual energy, like, trapped in a memory.
But there's not, like, some, like, ghost that, you know, every night moved the water butt.
I mean, you've got a pretty shit ghost.
Yeah.
He gave you a dustpan and brush and moved a barrel of water.
Maybe it's just, like, hinting that our garden needs to tidy up or something.
Oh, that's true. Maybe it's a helpful ghost.
It could be like Casper.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
See, that's the thing. If I don't communicate with it, I'm not going to know.
I mean, here's a fun thing, Liam. Do you want to do a Ouija board when I come down?
No.
Oh, come on.
No. I don't.
No one ever wants to do Ouija boards.
Why do you?
Because I don't believe in ghosts. So I want to do it because if something does happen, I'll be like, oh, okay, ghosts are definitely real. Like,
all right. Well, why don't I come to you and we do it at yours?
That's fine.
So that way, if there is anything there, I'm not left with it once you leave.
I once freaked a friend out at a party because me and Tom Hogan, friend of the show, asked him if we could do a Ouija board, sort of jokingly.
Yeah.
And he very strongly reacted with a no, don't you fucking dare.
Yeah.
Which then, of course, immediately made us be like, well, now we want to.
Yeah.
So we just wrote the alphabet on a sheet of paper and got a bottle cap, and he was so annoyed. And that's not how Ouija boards work.
No. But I could still see why someone would be annoyed at that.
Well, no, because you're not going to contact the dead with a sheet of paper and a bottle cap.
How do you know?
Oh, I don't want to know our fans who I know believe in ghosts. I do. Like, here's the thing. I could be swayed on certain points, such as I genuinely believe Amanda. But Ouija boards were a toy invented by Hasbro.
Yeah.
So how would it contact the dead? That makes no sense.
Well, what was the toy? Like, what was the original purpose of that toy?
It relies on that whole subconscious thing. It was a Ouija board. It was the whole idea was you can contact the dead, but the makers knew it was that subconscious movement thing, or whatever it's called.
It's like have you seen that magic trick where you sit in a chair and then everyone puts like one finger and you can lift it up?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot like that.
How does that work?
Just something to do with the combined strength of a lot of people and lots of points of contact or something.
Fair enough.
Today's episode. Listeners, I apologise. Today's episode has been so off topic. We've covered Joe Rogan and ghosts.
I think it's because I don't have any catching up to do, really. So what you're
But
getting...
I think we've ended up doing a longer catching up with.
Yeah, what you're getting is my mind just going, fuck it, let's see where we go. And here's where we've ended up.
Well, I'll try and let's wrap up the ghost thing. When I come down, I'll try and catch some footage of the ghost.
I don't want that.
Well, why?
Oh, so when you come down, right, if there's a noise out in the back garden, what are you going to do?
Hide.
Yeah, so that's not going to be any use, is it?
Yeah, but what are you going to do? You're going to peek out the curtain and I'll snap a photo?
Yeah, I'll turn the light on, have a little look, and if it's like some crazy person stood there staring at us, they're going to only get more crazy if you snap a photo of them.
Yeah, genuine question. What would you do if it was if there was a crazy person in your garden?
Well, I'd hope that the patio doors would kind of withhold.
Yep. And would you call the police?
Yeah, you'd have to, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like that's the logical thing, and you do it loudly so they were aware what you were doing, in the hopes that would make them go away.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it's not that. I mean, so there is like a slight issue as well in that the back garden gate doesn't lock properly.
Right, you should probably talk to your landlord and get that fixed.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Housekeeping. No.
I haven't been to the cinema. I need to. So, all right. Okay.
Liam hasn't been to the cinema, so here are the spoiler-free reviews of the things that he didn't see at the cinema.
I know that this is a favourite section of a lot of our listeners, and I'm very sorry. I'm gonna.
Don't worry, I'm sure they'll withhold their depression.
I'll try and make it up to you next time. Like, I know when we next
You're
record,
only getting 3 next time. You can't store them up.
I could do some exclusives for YouTube.
God, fine.
So I know, but when we next record, I'll have seen The Shape of Water, because I'm going to an unlimited screening of that.
Oh, cool.
And I'm going to try and go and see some other stuff.
Okay.
But I'm a busy boy, you know? As you could tell from the catching up with.
Oh, yeah, you're just chock-a-block.
Yeah.
So what have you seen anything, Liam? Have you done anything?
I watched Netflix.
What did you watch on Netflix?
I watched... so this is sort of like a review, but also sort of like I'm kind of overlapping with Housekeeping a little bit.
Okay.
I watched Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life.
How was it? Was it good?
So, okay, for anyone that isn't aware, maybe...
yeah, fair.
Gilmore Girls ran for 7 seasons. I've been talking about it a lot lately because Amanda, a few episodes ago, recommended the first season to us. And then she very politely requested that we continue watching and we keep her up to date with our thoughts of the show. She was like, you know, you've got your housekeeping section, so I get to listen to that and find out how you're finding the show. So I've upheld that kind of part of the agreement that we made with her, which both of us made, to be fair. And I, as the housekeeping's gone on, and I'll be doing more later, but I have now watched all 7 of those seasons. There was like a 9-year gap, I think.
Yep.
And then Netflix brought Gilmore Girls back for a 4-episode like special like limited series, I think they called it, where each episode is 90 minutes long.
So like a mini film.
Like an actual film, not even a mini one.
That's true. You get hour-and-a-half films.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So it's called A Year in the Life. There's 4 episodes. Each one is themed around a different season. So like spring.
Yep, spring,
Well, no, sorry.
summer.
I have to explain this because when I was describing it to, I think, Kat, she thought I meant like season of the show.
Right, yeah, no, I get you. I think most people would get you.
Well, you know, Kat didn't. So yeah, so I loved it, in all honesty. And I've seen like a bit of like attitude towards it. Like I read some of the reviews on like IMDb and people were like, this isn't Gilmore Girls. What have they done? They've ruined it. I've really enjoyed it. It was like, even though I literally started watching it like the day after I finished season 7, it was still just really fun kind of checking back in with these characters. Much like how when we discussed Before Sunrise and the sequels that has. It's nice just seeing these characters and seeing like how time has clearly progressed and then finding what they're up to like 9 years later.
Yeah. Do you think part of it might be that, like, so because people had the 9-year gap and you went straight into it?
That could be why I didn't have quite such high, like, expectations, maybe?
Yeah, because you've had it built, I guess if you've, like...
You've been waiting that long.
Not even waiting, because I imagine they didn't say, like, you know, it's coming.
Yeah,
you've just had nothing, and then suddenly they're like, Gilmore Girls is back.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That does make sense, but it's kind of like that whole Star Wars Last Jedi issue, right? Where how important are the fan expectations when like content doesn't do what the fans want it to? Like, I think we did touch on that very briefly when we discussed The Last Jedi.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe that was just when we were talking about it offline, sort of thing.
Yeah, it could be. I'm not 100% sure.
But anyway, so yeah, for me, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun. I love being in that like little part of the world.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's a really, really lovely little story, little world that you can live in, Liam.
Yeah, Stars Hollow. If I could just crawl into the TV and live in Stars Hollow, like a reverse Ring, it'd be brilliant.
That would be a lot less scary as well.
Well, for me, imagine if you actually lived in Stars Hollow and then like out of nowhere, I just crawl through like some sort of weird gap in time and space.
Yeah, that's sort of nightmarish. How funny would that be if it was your dream to go and live in this like perfect little world, but you crawling into it in such a nightmarish fashion actually ruined that world?
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would give it Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life, a solid 4 out of 5.
Oh, nice. That's high.
Yeah, no spoilers, because obviously this part of the show, no spoilers. But I've got to say, oh my god, the way they ended it, if there's not more coming at some point in the future, I'm going to be fucking livid, because Jesus, that ending, fuck me.
Fair enough.
I also watched The Good Place, season 1.
Way!
I've carried on watching it after season 1. I'm up to date with season 2, but we'll kind of cover that when we get to it. The end of it.
Yeah, I think I'm one episode behind, I think.
Okay. You've already reviewed it on the show, I think.
Yeah, I think I told you to watch it.
Yeah, so I've done that. So as we were starting to wrap up Gilmore Girls, we were coming towards like the end of season 7. As like a little bit of a change things up, we were watching Good Place, because they're only like 20-minute episodes.
Yeah, they're really short.
Yeah, we absolutely breezed through them. The thing it's good when you binge watch it, but now that you're up to date, it's fucking annoying, is each episode like ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
or maybe not every episode, but the vast majority ends on a cliffhanger.
The last few definitely have been. I think the second half of the second season has had a lot of like...
Oh yeah, but even the first season had a lot of it. And I remember just like, it was really Moorish in that way, that we were just like, okay, so we know that this cliffhanger is probably going to be resolved in the like first 2 minutes of the next episode, but I still need to see that. So
yeah,
we got through the first season in like literally a couple of days.
Yep, I think I did the same.
It's really good. Ted Danson is just fantastic in it. Is it Kirsten Bell or Kristen?
I think it's Kristen Bell, isn't it? Yeah, Kristen.
Yeah, she's good. Even, what's her face? The British one. Jamila Jamil?
Yeah.
Like, I remember, didn't she used to host, like, T4 or something?
I've got no idea.
Sure she did. Anyway, she's good. Like, everyone in it is good. Oh, Darcy Carden, who plays Janet, is just sublime.
Janet is, like, my favourite character.
She's so good. It's all just really good, is the thing.
Yeah.
And it's really worth sticking throughout the first season.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to spoil anything.
No, which is the same thing that everyone... So the person that told me to watch Good Place just said to me, right, go watch The Good Place.
Yeah.
And just, it's amazing, go watch it.
Yeah.
And then I think I said that on the episode.
Yeah. And
now we're both telling all the listeners,
what is it?
Go and watch this show.
I watched the very first episode with my mum over Christmas, and she was like, I'm not sure about it. And then I saw her last weekend, and I was like, you really should stick with The Good Place and just watch the first season and see what you think of it by the time it's finished. Yeah. So I would give it 3.5 out of 5.
That seems low.
It does. It is really good, and it is really Moorish. And I do like what they do with it. I think I'd give the second season so far higher. It's just the first season, there was not maybe a lot. I don't know how to discuss my issues without going into spoiler territory.
Okay, well, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
So, 3.5 out of 5. Still really good, don't get me wrong. That's it. And now, obviously, it's the moment everyone's been waiting for, where Ellie finally gives us her review of American Psycho.
I had a realisation, Liam, today at work, as I sat there doing work. I thought to myself, I was like, God, why can I not just read American Psycho? It's holding up everything. I've got so many books that I want to read.
Yeah.
And I had this moment of pure clarity, and I realised that you have successfully killed my reading. I let you do suggestions. I caved in. I said, fine, the reviews need to be better. That's fine. I'll do it. I'll review stuff you want me to. And look what you fucking did, Liam.
I managed to get rid of my least favourite part of the show.
What? You've genuinely ruined a chunk of my life.
Just because I didn't enjoy hearing your book reviews.
Yeah, you didn't like my book reviews, suggested American Psycho, and you've successfully ruined reading for me.
I really wish I could be like, that was all part of my master plan.
I know it wasn't, is the thing. Yeah, I know it wasn't.
I really
so I'm not,
wish
I
I'd
can't
had
be
it thought
angry
out.
at you.
The thing, and it's not even me, like, Gibbo wants your thoughts on it as well.
I don't think he does. I think Gibbo would be more interested in my thoughts on the third book in the Bobiverse, which I was reading them when they came out.
Don't give a fuck. Gibbo has asked you for your thoughts on American Psycho. I've asked you.
I've told everyone my thoughts on American Psycho. It's really boring.
I don't understand how you can say that though, because it's not. Like,
when was the last time you read it?
Years ago, but
Exactly.
I remember, and I think I even said to you when I suggested it to you, yeah, there's a couple of chapters where they're just like music reviews and they're a bit boring, and you skip those chapters anyway, right?
No, I didn't. I read the chapter. I just read that chapter.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't skip the chapter.
Yeah.
Get off your fucking high horse, mate.
But like, I very distinctly remember everything else being just like horrific and amazing because of it.
Well, you're incorrect. I've not gotten to any horrific stuff yet. And
But maybe that's why you need to keep reading it.
One horrific scene, and I'm 50% through.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a scene I so distinctly remember.
I might just stop reading it.
I don't understand why you can't just like force yourself to finish it.
Because it's so boring.
But just like, if you were just to go, okay, every night I'm going to do half an hour of it, you'd have been done.
I could be doing other
ages
stuff.
Ago.
I don't want reading to be a chore, which it's becoming because of American Psycho.
Yeah, but it might get better.
I don't trust you.
It might get better.
I don't believe you.
There's just one bit that I really want you to get to, because I want your thoughts
exactly.
on
See,
it.
this is what I mean.
But I can't remember where it is. It might be like literally the next chapter for all we know. You'll know it as soon as you read it as well. So come on, just get on with it. Just why don't you break it down and be like, right, by the next time we record,
No, I'm not setting myself any goals with it.
I'll
'cause
have
that's
read
failed
one
in the
chapter.
past. I also, Liam, went to the cinema.
Yeah.
I saw Jumanji 2.
Welcome to the jungle.
Indeed. It's good.
Why didn't they call it Welcome to the Jumanji Jungle?
Because that doesn't then let them play the Welcome to the Jungle song at the end.
Yeah, true.
I think you've already spoken about Jumanji on here.
Yeah. We went to an Unlimited.
So I'm probably not going to do too much, but it's genuinely a really good film. Like, makes you laugh.
Yeah.
It's just a all-round good film.
Well, I think I might have mentioned this when I was discussing it, but I remember seeing a lot of people get real like sniffy about it before even watching it, like just judging it off the trailer, being like, oh, how could they ruin the original by doing this? And I've actually seen those same people on Twitter be like, yeah, so I went to see Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and it was actually really good fun. And I'm just like, it's that not, sort of person I just want to fucking slap.
It's like so what I was saying before was not they've ruined Jumanji, because that is stupid.
Yeah.
But like from the trailer, I had said I don't think this is going to be a good sequel to Jumanji.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to love the film, which is how I feel. Like, this film didn't need to be in the Jumanji universe. No, as in like you. I'm not saying that as in like I'd rather it wasn't. I'm saying like if you took out the references to Jumanji in it, this film would still work.
It would, but so my only like counter to that is, do you see why it is in the Jumanji universe though?
Oh yeah. No, and I know what your argument was when we talked about it, which was that like
it's so similar. You might as well.
Yeah, but then like I don't know if that argument works because people made that Zathura film, which is just Jumanji but in space.
But that was based off of a story by the same person that wrote the original Jumanji story, so it is like sort of linked.
But then, okay, well, if they're linked and in the same universe, then Jumanji 2 makes even less sense, right?
I haven't seen Zahura or whatever it's called.
It's literally, when I said it's like Jumanji but in space, I genuinely meant that.
Yeah,
it's
all I know
Jumanji,
is
but with space.
I think it's based off of, I don't know if it's the same story or if the author did two different stories, but I know that there's some tie with the author of Jumanji there.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's not an insult, me saying I don't think it needs to be part of, I don't think it's a good sequel to Jumanji. I genuinely don't. I don't think it's a good sequel to Jumanji, but I think it's a really good film, and I think everyone should go and watch it because you'll have a good time.
Would you want to see a third Jumanji?
Not particularly.
No.
Like, there's nothing in this film that made me go, I hope they do a sequel to this.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I did leave and I was like, I wonder what they would do if they left the same amount of time. Like, would we get a VR version, which would just make no sense because the people would just assume they're still in VR.
Yeah, like how long was left? Was it 20 years?
Was it?
Just under 20 years, maybe? Like, so what, Jumanji was late 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, another 20 years. Who knows what could happen?
Imagine if gaming gets to the point where you do feel like you're in the world. So then they make another one, and it's just the board game Jumanji sort of failing at its task because it's like
No, what if it's meta? If it's VR, it makes you think you're in Jumanji.
That would be good if VR ever gets to that point.
Yeah.
A Jumanji VR game where
Yeah.
you get sucked into the game.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And then if it's so realistic, you'd actually know if you're actually sucked into the game or if you're just experiencing like a story.
Yeah.
Out of 5?
Probably a 3.5.
Absolutely fair. I think we agree with that one.
Yeah.
Have
That's
you
all
done-
my housekeeping. Have you got anything?
No, that's not housekeeping.
Oh my god, that's all my. It's because this section doesn't have a concrete title.
It's just reviews of shit.
That's reviews of shit. That's a good title for it.
There we go.
We've finished reviews and shit. Let's talk about housekeeping.
Right. As I alluded to earlier, quite subtly, I finished.
Yeah, you dropped some hints.
I finished Gilmore Girls season 7. It's great. Amanda, like the thing is, both Amanda and someone else, I think Dave K, I think it was, on Twitter, were both like, "Oh, there's a season of Gilmore Girls that's not good." And there was a load of issues with season 7, like behind the scenes. So the creator and the writer for the first 6 seasons basically had to step down for season 7 because the show like moved networks or something, or like something happened with the networks. The show had to move. I don't think it was even like moving network. It was like the network like created a new channel or something, and they wanted to move Gilmore Girls to it. Some weird thing like that happened. The writer was trying to like negotiate like more money. They were like, nah. And basically the creator was put on as like an executive producer, but they brought someone else in to write this season.
Okay.
As someone who had never watched Gilmore Girls until Amanda recommended it, and then I just went and watched all 7 seasons, I felt like the 7th season, despite being told, oh, it's like really different and it's really terrible and it's really bad, I didn't see that. I thought it was like, it was a little bit different, but it was definitely in keeping with Gilmore Girls. It was like what I had grown to expect from the show.
Yeah.
So I super enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I enjoyed all 7 seasons. There were certain like storylines here and there that I didn't particularly like too much. And funny enough, most of those weren't in season 7. So I don't know what people's issues are with season 7, to be honest.
Well, are you sure it's season 7 that they were talking about?
Yeah, because I asked Amanda and she kind of verified that it was. But yeah, like, I think a lot of it was just like the loyalty. So like people were obviously loyal to the creator and the main writer. So when all that stuff behind the scenes happened, people who were loyal to her kind of felt like they'd been a bit dicked over.
Yeah, no, that's fair because you get that with some shows.
Yeah.
I've had that where like a writer's been, or not even the writer, like the creator's been moved off or whatever, and you're like, what?
Yeah, I totally understand it, but I just as a kind of like innocent bystander just watching this show, I didn't really notice the quality of season 7 drastically dipping or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was all good. And then obviously I did Gilmore Girls Here in Life, and that was also all good, as you've already heard.
Yep.
Just repeating myself now. But what I want to know, Ellie, is when are you gonna kind of get back into Gilmore Girls?
Once I finish Star Trek.
I would recommend it.
I know. Yeah, I'm going to.
Well, I hope so.
I'm going to.
Well, you know, I've got high hopes.
But Star Trek's come back, and I'm watching that.
Yeah, space and shit. Of course, you're watching that.
I mean, Star Trek is like obviously space and shit. It's called Star Trek.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, like,
You like Star Trek, don't you?
I've only seen the first season of the original
Oh, that's right.
series.
You were going to watch Star Trek, and then you fucked yourself by insisting on watching the original series.
Some of it's good. It's just
It's not as good as any of the other seasons, though. Is the issue?
Do you mean any of the other series?
Yes, I get confused with series and seasons. It's all
Well, technically, a series is what like UK people call seasons, but I think in the case of Star Trek, it does work in that, you know, you've got like this different
the next
like,
gen series,
yeah, exactly,
which has however many seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
You've got like Voyager, Deep Space Nine. Is there another one that I'm forgetting?
Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, original series, that Enterprise, I think it was called.
That's
like,
right. Yeah, and there was
now
the animated
Discovery.
series as well. Don't forget.
I never saw the animated series.
You didn't see the original, if I remember rightly.
I've seen bits of the original though.
The thing with the original, it's not that it's bad.
It's cheesy.
No, it's not even that it's cheesy. It's that
Oh.
it's such a different way of TV than what we're used to nowadays, where we're used to these like overarching storylines. We're used to the episodes like leading into each other. Whereas the original series was very much, you could jump into any episode. You didn't need to watch previous ones to understand what was going on. and it was all like self-contained stories that were neatly kind of tied off by the end of the episode.
To be fair, Liam, Next Gen does the same thing. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I thought
Next Gen has some overarching stuff, but like you can easily just drop into any Next Gen episode and be like, oh,
yeah,
I get it.
It really was like mid-90s where that kind of started changing. Like a sort of Buffy around that time was when you started getting these overarching stories.
Yeah.
I think Next Gen came out just slightly before Buffy. I think like early 90s, wasn't it?
No, not sure, but probably.
Yeah. I still want to get back into it. I'm really jealous because I think Amanda is on a podcast where they're going through and they're talking about each episode. And I kind of, again, I wish I'd had that idea because that would have given me that incentive to stick with it. Yeah. There's a lot of podcasts that I'm just jealous of the idea of them.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's worth going and doing Discovery because you don't need... Because it's like a prequel to all of it.
Yeah.
Like
I've heard it's really good as well.
It is, and like since it's come back from its season break, it's just got better.
How did we get onto Star Trek through Housekeeping? Oh, Gilmore Girls. Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got you.
Also, I'm Housekeeping Star Trek because I've mentioned it on here before.
Cool.
But yeah, go watch Star Trek, Liam.
Yeah, we got some tweets.
Read them out to me. Tell me what the people have said.
Yeah, because you clearly can't be trusted to do Twitter.
I've done some Twittering.
No, but like not even on your own personal account is what I'm getting at.
Oh, right, yeah, you're insulting me because of the fact that I didn't follow Amanda.
Because, like, you know, one of our most dedicated, long-time listeners, you couldn't even be bothered to follow them from your own personal account.
I don't use Twitter.
And people think that I'm the terrible co-host here.
Well, the issue, Liam, is that I don't use Twitter at all.
I mean, here's going to come all the excuses.
Yeah, no, it is an excuse. That's what this is.
Yeah, because
obviously.
Because
I mean, what else could it be? It wasn't going to be a fucking rebuttal. It's an excuse.
Yeah, you say that you don't use Twitter, but then you also said that one of the reasons why you didn't follow her back is because you've tweeted her in the past from your personal account without really thinking.
Yeah, because you tell me to do it.
You shouldn't need to be told.
So, like, you know how Twitter gives you notifications and it's like someone's mentioned you.
Yeah.
I don't have that turned on. You are my notification.
Maybe you should turn it on.
You occasionally text me and go, "Yo, Ellie, have you seen that Amanda's been talking to you for like 20 minutes and you haven't responded?" And I go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
and I go talk to her.
Rude. Lee Brady, friend of the show, he's been on. Go listen to his episode. It was earlier. He tweeted, "Now listening to Nerd on Nerd, who I just remembered released a new episode, so I'm a little behind. Here's to optimism." And then he said, "Lots of optimism needed for this one. Sorry about the bad eye-related news, Liam. Hopefully positive news in the future. Coping better with disclosure on air than I ever would, at least. Ha ha ha." Thanks, Lee.
I was waiting for you to respond to that because that's not really.
Yeah, no, I was just like, yeah.
I can't answer that one for you, Liam.
No, I was just thinking, like, what's the correct response?
Fair enough.
There we go. It's thanks, Lee.
Nice, Liam.
It's weird that I've been put in charge of the social stuff when I'm like the least social person
I don't think you're the least social.
out of the two of us.
I don't think you're the least social out of the two of us.
When did you last see Friends?
No, I'm more social with the people I know. You're better at you care less about what people think about you.
That's true. Amanda
just
tweeted us saying,
Yeah.
"Enjoyed your top 3 choices and anticipated entertainment for 2018. I can't wait for Jessica Jones. Would love to hear a full top 10 or even top 5. Hint, hint. And Ellie, I also loved your name and we're glad to do a Your Name Is podcast with you." Right, there's a lot to discuss here. So let's start off with the... She said she'd love to hear a full top 10 or even top 5. Is that of our like top choices or of our anticipated things?
I think it's... if I remember rightly, this has jogged my memory. I think on one of the previous podcasts where we did a top list,
Yeah.
we did on the show 3,
Yeah.
but we then tweeted our full top 10s.
Oh, maybe.
I've sort of got a vague recollection of you saying to me you still haven't tweeted your top 10 video games.
That's the thing is, I don't think I've played 10 video games in the kind of...
No, I might... no, I probably have played 10, but it would be like low enough that...
I couldn't do a
it
top
would just
10
be...
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even with TV, I think I'd struggle to do a top 10 TV because I watched a lot of like long form stuff.
Yeah.
Like 7 seasons of Gilmore Girls. That took I think the Amanda show was October time.
Here come the excuses, listeners.
No, not an excuse. I'm just saying from October to literally a couple of weeks ago was just Gilmore Girls non-stop. So
sounds like an excuse.
That's like, what, 3 months gone to one show?
Make time.
I can do my top 10 movies.
Obviously. I mean, that's... You could do a top, like, 50.
Well, no, I could do my top 10 of 2017.
I mean, you could also do a top 50 because you literally store all your reviews, so you could just order it by rating.
All right, so here's the question. Would you like my top 10 of 2017, or would you like my top 20 that were new to me of 2017? So movies that I hadn't seen before 2017, not necessarily movies that were
I don't
released.
want either.
Maybe that's a better question for Amanda.
Tweet them to her. I don't want them on here.
In number 10.
You were so confident that I would want this.
So my top 10 of 2017, I'm just going to do it real quickly.
Oh my god, really?
Real quickly. It's also...
while you're doing that, I'm going to just Google some stuff and occasionally drop facts about, I don't know, ancient Babylonians.
Right, so I just got to caveat this. I go by IMDb release dates, just because that makes my life easier. It's really annoying the fact that the UK gets a fair amount of 2017 releases a bit later. So for example, I know in America they've already got Lady Bird and Call Me By Your Name. While Call Me By Your Name has already had a cinematic release in the UK, it was really limited, so I didn't get it in my local cinema, so I haven't seen that yet. Lady Bird hasn't been out yet. Shape of Water hasn't been out yet. I, Tonya hasn't been out yet. All of these I'm very hopeful for, and they could potentially end up on my top 10. So I'm
actually going to take my headphones out and go and get a drink. I have one on my bed, so you just keep talking to the listeners. I'll drop back in a second.
Cool. So this is just my top 10 of 2017, ... so far. While Ellie's away, this is a great opportunity for us to, just say she's a shit co-host, and it's okay if you're a Liam, that's fine. So in at number 10, we have The Disaster Artist. James Franco was good. It's been a bit sort of soiled by all of this sexual harassment stuff at the moment. But if you just look at the performance, amazing. And I think, his direction was fine as well. Nothing to particularly write home about, but it was fine. I did a special episode on Amanda's Picture Show A Go-Go where we talked about The Disaster Artist because Zac Efron was in it. Anyway, that was number 10. Number 9, it's a film I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about, and I don't know why. It's called Only the Brave. I really enjoyed it. You might remember my spoiler-free review of it, where I was just raving about it. No one really listened to that and went off to watch it, so you've only got yourself to blame. It's got Miles Teller in it. I like him. He's good. Number 8, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It was a good year for comic book movies. There'll be more of those coming up. Number 7, The Big Sick. Really enjoyed that. 6, Logan. Oh, look, another comic book movie. That was good. 5, Dunkirk. I enjoyed that. That was more of a spectacle movie though. There wasn't really a lot of story there. It was a good time. 4, Kong Skull Island. Did another special. Did that with Ellie actually, where we guested on the Atlantic Screen Connection podcast. I had very different feelings to Kong Skull Island as to what the other 3 people on that podcast had. So go listen to that if you basically want to hear me get shouted down by other people. And then the top 3, you heard on the last episode, hopefully, but just in case you didn't, we had Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, and obviously my favourite movie so far of 2017, The Greatest Showman. I'm still listening to the soundtrack. It's fantastic. That was Liam Underwood's top 10 of 2017, ... so far.
You done?
For now.
Cool.
So, my top 20 new to me of 2017. No, I won't go through that. Amanda, if you want that, tweet us and I'll squeeze it into the next episode. Some of those entries may surprise you.
Any other contact?
Oh shit, yeah. Sorry, I forgot we were doing that.
Yeah, I thought you might
have. So you responded saying... Oh yeah, because we haven't finished even breaking down this.
No, yeah.
So yeah, Amanda wanted to do the Your Name Is podcast with you.
Yep, and I said that I would do it with her. And
she said, yes! And I already have one friend who would listen because we saw the movie together and he also loved it. So, boom. Your Name Is ... average.
Mean.
What else? Oh yeah, so then Amanda was like, hey Ellie, I just went to send you a DM, but apparently you aren't following me on Twitter. A reminder of why Liam runs the Nerd on Nerd Twitter. I can message you on Facebook instead if you prefer. And then I think I responded
to that. I don't use Facebook either.
Amanda said, at least the revelation didn't happen on air like it did with Lee.
Yeah, that was more embarrassing.
Yeah. Anyway, then we had a bit of a discussion about all that.
Yep.
That was it.
There we go.
We were mentioned ready? On... So the Zack Attack guys have started a new podcast called Boyfriend Material about the films of Ryan Gosling. Again, you know how I was just saying I'm really jealous of podcast ideas, like the Star Trek one. This is another one of the ideas that I'm really jealous of.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool idea. We've got our equivalent.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to start it.
Okay,
And
I'm ready
still...
whenever. We know what we've got to watch.
No, the first episode wasn't us watching anything, if you remember. It was going to be like the history of them, how you came about discovering them. You were going to do like a little bit of like introduction to what this show's going to be. Do you remember? And you were like, I've got to do some research into the history before I can do it.
Fine.
So yeah, still waiting on you for that one. But yeah, we got a shout out, so thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Everyone should go listen to their stuff.
They don't listen to us, but that's okay.
Don't call them out.
Well, they won't listen, so they won't hear that.
Well, I'm going to maybe delete that because it's weird.
Alright. Well, I'm just saying, like, if they listen, they would know that you're Ellie.
You're not... Stop trying to start beef with people.
Maybe that'll get us more listens.
There's not like a... I don't know if there is a podcast sort of community like that, like on YouTube, where you can just start beef with random people.
It should be.
No, I'm glad there isn't. A culture swap?
Swap my culture.
Liam, what did we do this time on Culture Swap?
We did The Wicked and the Divine, because I think we both had it, and...
Yeah, it was just pure chance, wasn't it? Last episode I looked up on my shelf and went, oh, I've got The Wicked and the Divine.
And I was like, I've got that downstairs, haven't read it yet, why not? Why not, basically?
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't really know a lot about it. Like, I hadn't even read the back cover that gives you, like, the basic synopsis.
No, I hadn't either.
So I just knew that a lot of people were, like, talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite old, isn't it? It's been around since 2014.
Yeah, which isn't that old, really. Like, I mean, 4 years.
It's not compared to your 30 years of life, but...
Yeah, exactly. Should I read out the synopsis on the back?
Yeah, sure.
Every 90 years, 12 gods return as young people.
There wasn't a comma there.
What?
You paused as if there was a comma. Can you read it again, please?
Do you want to read it?
No, keep going.
Alright. Do you want me to start again?
Yeah, from the beginning.
Every 90 years...
No, you're pausing. Don't pause there. What you're looking for, Liam, is there are little dots after some of the words. They're full stops.
Okay, cool.
That's like a breath.
Okay, got it. Alright.
And then commas are sort of a half breath.
Okay, got it. Every 90 years, 12 gods return as young people. They are loved. They are hated. In 2 years, they are all dead. I can't do it like that. It's happening now, it's happening again. That's the synopsis. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what it was about.
I mean, that's the overall premise. Listeners, if you haven't read this, there are going to be spoilers. If you're interested in reading it, maybe, hit pause on us, go and read it, come back, and then...
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, it's an easy read in that I started reading it a couple of nights ago and I was like, I'll read half tonight and then half tomorrow night and then we'll record the next night sort of thing. Yeah. And I ended up just sitting down and reading it all in one sitting.
Yeah, I did it all in one sitting as well.
Yeah, like it's quite... It's not that Moorish, but it's just...
It flows well.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
It's like a rapper.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just like a rapper.
Yeah.
Me. Yeah, should we go into a little bit more detail about what it is, Liam?
Yeah, sure.
So, like Liam got from the blurby bit on the back.
Yeah.
Every 90 years, 12 gods come back.
Yeah.
And you're following Laura, who's not a god.
She's like a fan girl.
Yeah, she's like someone who... So basically the gods, when they come back, have like cult followings of people that just love and adore them. She's one of those people.
Although...
is madly obsessed with them.
You say she's not a god.
Yeah, right at the end, maybe she's a god.
Well, yeah, there's definitely something happens at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so at the beginning, you're assuming she's not a god.
Oh yeah, well, at the beginning she isn't a god, right? There's no assumptions there.
I don't know how it works. I don't know how
It feels like it was a transferal of power, is what I was kind of taken away from that end bit.
Oh, really? See, I didn't read it that way, but maybe.
Okay.
Could be. Because when the gods die, they don't come back for 90 years.
No, they don't, but it doesn't mean they couldn't maybe necessarily... It's not that she is now that god, but maybe that god managed to transfer some of its power into her.
Maybe. But yeah, so you're following Laura as she... It starts with her going to see one of the goddesses, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Amaterasu.
I'm leaving all of the names up to Ellie because I'm not good with normal names, let alone these weird, freaky deaky god names.
So she goes to see Amaterasu. Jesus Christ, Amaterasu.
Yeah.
Who is
Should we say who it's written by?
That's a good point.
So this is written by Kieran Gillen. Yep. The artist is Jamie McKelvey. The colourist is Matthew Wilson. The letterer is Clayton Cowles.
I don't think you need to mention the letterer.
The
we have this discussion
designer
every time.
is Hannah Donovan. It was edited by Chrissy Williams. This is a new one. Flatter. D. Cunniff. What's a flatter?
No idea.
Well, they helped make this book happen. There's also a guest colorist.
Good.
Nathan
right, cool.
Fairbairn.
Oh my god. Are you done?
Yep.
She goes to see this Amaterasu. That's not what it is, but I'm going to just say that.
Yeah.
And then she ends up meeting up with someone called Lucy, who is Lucifer.
Of course. But it's spelled like Luci, Lucy, as well.
Yeah, which is how you'd get it from Lucifer. I
guess.
But
like, well, I'm just saying that because I didn't necessarily make that connection when I very first read it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my god, that's Lucifer, until they kind of was like, that's Lucifer, and I was like, shit, that makes sense, I'm dumb.
Got you. That's fair. And then some bad shit happens, someone dies, one of the gods dies, and it's basically Laura trying to help this pantheon of 12 gods. Well, she's trying to help Lucifer figure out who the murderer is, but also trying to, like, figure out what's going on with the other gods, because they're not that interested in who the murderer is, which is weird.
Yeah, so do you want to explain that murderer a bit more?
There's a murderer.
Well, no, but there's a lot of context around it, isn't it? Because it's Lucy basically gets arrested.
Right, so Lucy gets arrested for shooting 2 dudes with fire. It turns out one of Lucifer's powers is she can click her fingers and make flames appear.
Hence why I was saying transfer of power.
Yeah, which is what Laura ends up doing at the end. But she does that on 2 policemen who are going to shoot the gods. Yeah. Or not policemen, they're not even policemen, they're just random murderer people.
Yeah, it's not really that well explained yet.
No, they're just randomers with guns. They shoot up the room, Lucy blows them up, and then gets arrested for using her powers. Yeah. Because in this world, people don't believe that the gods are the gods. Yeah. There's this weird, they just think they're kids that are fucking around and don't know, just making it up, effectively.
Just kids that are a bit full of themselves, basically.
Yeah.
Which in this day and age, with the whole, the YouTubers and all that sort of stuff, it's not outside the realm of belief, is it?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I thought was interesting about it, was that sort of element of it. Yeah. But so she gets arrested, goes to court, jokingly threatens the judge, and is goes to just click her fingers to scare everyone, and when she does that, the judge's head explodes. Yeah. Which Lucifer is then that wasn't me. Yeah. Which no one believes her except Laura, and so Laura's then trying to figure out who actually blew up the judge's head. Yeah. And that's it's basically then it's what's her face, the main one. Which one?
The founder.
Ananke?
No, you've just said her name loads. The main character.
Laura? I just didn't think you'd have forgotten that name.
It's basically Laura going around meeting the other gods, trying to kind of figure out what's going on. But also she has got her own agenda in that she wants to become a god. Yeah, she's got this obsession with them and wants to be one, and is in love with 3 of them. And there's also Cassandra.
Yeah, Cassandra is a journalist that is trying to help. Or no, she doesn't like the gods. She doesn't believe them.
But she's done a lot of academic writing around it and all that sort of stuff, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's meant to have a master's in mythology.
Yeah, yeah.
So she's trying to prove that they're not real, or just interview them and get information about them. Yeah. And she ends up helping Laura. I'm not sure why.
No, I don't really know why either.
They don't super explain. I'm hoping it goes into it more, the connection between Laura and Cassandra, because they know each other. Yeah. But you're not really sure why.
It feels like there's a lot that's kind of assumed or not fully developed, that I don't know if they necessarily plan to develop later, or they're just it's not massively important, so you don't really need to know the fact that these 2 people already know each other and have a bit of history there.
Well, I definitely think it was setting up for more.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But it could go either way, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
It could just be they were it's not really crucial to the story.
But yeah, so you get Cassandra come in, who is kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the main overview of the story, really, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Some more shit happens. It ends with Lucifer dying, which is
a
bummer.
And it is basically just Laura trying to figure out who is behind this killing, because the killing is obviously, it was quite public. It kind of almost verifies the proof of these gods. Yeah. But it also makes them quite feared. Yeah, because then right at the end, that's what Ananke says, doesn't she? Basically Ananke is this. So the gods also die. I don't know if we explained that they die. Oh yeah, we should explain that. After 2 years. They come back every 90 years. 12 gods come back, and they inhabit the body of someone who already exists. So these are all people that had normal lives and then one day became gods. They're teenagers.
Yeah.
Crucially.
And then Ananke is this old woman who doesn't die, but seems to she's connected to it. She has all the powers as well. Yeah. She's involved in bringing them back, and she also is involved in potentially their deaths.
Yeah, and there's also something
Maybe.
that I can't quite fully remember, but there is something about for her to carry on living, people have to carry on like. There's something about the gods that basically allow her to like. I can't remember it. Help.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, there is some weird thing where she's like in charge of like not monitoring, but like making sure these gods don't get out of control.
Yeah.
Because if they do get out of control, that's going to jeopardize her existence somehow.
Oh, I just thought it was going to jeopardise the god's existence.
Oh, I thought she was part of that.
Well, she is one of the gods, yeah.
Yeah, but she kind of doesn't come back, does she? She just seems to always exist, right?
Yeah, I think she's perpetually there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I think I understand you. Maybe.
I'm just reading the section now to see if I can figure it out.
Okay.
You entertain the listeners while I try and figure this out.
Well, that would be weird because we're meant to be discussing this together.
Yeah, but I had to entertain them earlier while you went to get a drink.
What you did was not entertainment. You're going to read spoilers.
And? I'm reading the actual comic, not the Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Here we go. So basically, right, here we go. So there's a bit where one of the gods says, Lucifer has to stay in her cell until the killer is found. Until then, it keeps her safe, it keeps us all safe. And what's the old lady god called?
Ananke?
Yeah. She says, there have been times when it's all gone wrong. The humans are not as defensive as they think. Lucifer has always had trouble believing in the gods, including herself. We must make the world understand how unlike the rest of the pantheon the Great Rebel is. Otherwise, this risks being the last recurrence, and inspiration will leave the world forever. Humanity would not realise what it had lost until it was gone.
Got you,
so
right.
That's why she's trying to, like, control this situation.
Yeah, because there is a way that the gods will stop coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it will be bad for everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, that might be really boring, just me, like, reading out passages of the comic. But
yeah.
I knew there was, like, a reason.
No, it's fair. It was relevant to what you were talking about.
Yeah. The artwork's really good.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
What?
That's always what you go to when you don't like, or not that you don't like something, when you have nothing to say about something. Your default is just, I really like the art.
Like, not the artwork's really good, but also, like, the page layout.
Yeah? How do you mean?
Like, there's certain pages, right, that are really nicely laid out, where it'll be like a double page spread or something, and it'll be like all black, but with like the text sort of cascading down in like a diagonal direction sort of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like another bit where there's like a load of crows, and they slowly like swarm in on the page.
Yeah, that's a good bit. I know. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, I like the way it's laid out.
Yeah, it is really a really nice comic.
Yeah, and I think that helps with what you were saying with the good flow it's got.
Yes, that's fair.
And it's got good colours.
But yeah, the colorist did a good job.
Yeah, well done, Matthew Wilson.
Is that you out of things you liked?
I mean, so here's the thing, right?
Go on.
It's a bit like Your Name. I finished reading this and I said to Kat, I thought it was alright. Ellie's gonna fucking love this because this is right up your street. All this like
what
God
does that
bullshit.
mean though?
You love all the weird gods and shit like that. There's like a quite a heavy like, I mean not heavy, but like a fantasy element to it all.
I mean, not really. Is there?
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
What bit?
Gods.
Right. Okay.
I mean the whole concept.
Right. So I think what you meant to say there instead of fantasy is fiction.
Yeah.
It's not got a fantasy element in the.
No, it's quite fantastical. It's not like fantasy like elves and shit.
Yeah, well, don't use the word fantasy because that's what everyone assumes when you say fantasy.
Well, what's the right word then?
Fictional.
Yeah.
Mystical. Mythical.
Mythical. That's right
Yeah.
up your street. You love the mythical bullshit.
I mean, this is the thing, Liam. You always tell me that you're not trying to attack me on these shows, but then you call it the mythical bullshit.
Yeah, but I say it endearingly.
You don't.
I do.
Mate.
I do.
You've got to remember you've got the monotone voice.
I know, but it's intended endearingly.
Right, good, thanks.
After like 50 plus shows, I was hoping that you'd have learnt to read between the lines.
Oh no, I know how, but
yeah,
listeners won't.
Well, no, they should have listened to the 50 plus shows then. I think Amanda would be able to because she listens to every episode.
Yes. Lee and Jason probably could because they've podcasted with you.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway,
fuck
you.
Right, this is your sort of thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And for me, I liked it. It's exactly like Your Name, where I'm like, I liked it, but I don't have a lot to say about it. It didn't really make me do a lot of thinking. There was nothing for me to dwell upon. It was okay. It was decent, but I'm not crazy about it.
I mean, okay, so counter to the like, there's not a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, one, on a very base level, there's a murder mystery.
Yeah, but okay, but so what I mean by that, right? Let me just clarify myself.
Yep, please do.
I'm not sat here being like, shit, I can't wait to read the next one. I've already got it ordered off Amazon. I can't wait to figure out what happens next, which we've had with stuff that we've done in the past.
Yeah.
With this one, there is a murder mystery there. I don't really care who did it at the end of the day. Like, I like the story and everything, but not enough to want to carry on reading it, and that's the crucial issue, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't get that, but that's because I did love it and I want to read the next one.
Yeah, and I think you'll like the next one, to be honest.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to I've got so much other stuff that I would rather read that I don't want to commit myself to getting into this series as well, because I didn't like it that much.
Okay.
But what it did do in this first one, I think is a great way of doing what first volume should do, which is it introduces you to like the flavour of this. Like I kind of imagine that a lot of people who would read this would immediately know if they want to continue with it or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I get that.
Yeah.
On a second level of things you could think about.
Yeah.
This isn't me arguing with you. This is just I wanted to continue it because it's a natural point.
Yeah, go for it.
Is the fact that this is like one of the best representations of the LGBT community that I've read in a graphic novel.
Is that because it isn't really like making a point of representing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that.
It does. Like no one in this comic is going like when one of the characters is like, yeah, and I had sex with this girl and I had sex with this guy. No one's going like, whoa, what? And the person saying it isn't saying it to be like, look how crazy I am for having sex with a girl and a guy.
Yeah, yeah.
The person's just like, yeah, this is what, yeah, I did that. And people are like, yep, you do that. That's what you do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you've got that. You've got a trans character. The lead character is mixed race. Like, it's a very...
Well, she's not LGBT. That's not LGBT, Liam.
No, sorry. I was about to make the point.
It's good representation of everybody.
Yeah, I was about to make the point that the comic is very diverse.
It is.
Yeah. I am aware that race does not equate to...
I know you do. I just...
Yeah, it's a very diverse comic.
Yeah.
It's quite refreshing in that, like, there's not really any, like, white male characters, I don't think. Like, because even there's, like, one god dude that's a white male, isn't he?
Baphomet?
Yeah, one of them. But which is refreshing, really, to have that few characters.
I mean, I don't want there to be no characters like that, but it's nice to have a varied cast.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like, I think, like, say, like, the blue is the warmest colour, for example, and potentially other, like, LGBTQ comics that kind of, like, are all about representing that in a way that's, like, the key point of it, almost.
Yeah.
That's what was refreshing about this, is that it was just, like, background information.
Yeah, which is what it should be most of the time.
Yeah, that to me is like normalising it, which is how it should be.
Yeah, it's good.
Did you know before reading it that it had a trans character in it?
Nope, I had no idea.
Yeah, same. And I didn't even know that character was trans until like later on in the comic.
Yeah, it specifically gets mentioned when Lucifer apologises for being mean.
Yeah,
because
basically.
she's trans.
Yeah, which I didn't initially pick up on with the initial meanness.
No, I had to go back and read the insult.
Yeah, I did the same.
And it's not horrendous. I was like, really? Did I miss like something that's really mean?
It's not horrendous, but once you get that piece of information, you understand why it is mean.
Yeah, because at the time when I first read the insult, which is just Lucifer says to Cassandra something about like, oh, is that even your name or something?
Do you want me to find it?
Yeah, it's pretty early on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's during the like initial interview.
Yeah. Are you actually called Cassandra, or are you just another hypocritical little parasite?
Yeah, and the Cassandra has like quotation marks around it.
Yeah.
Now, so when I first read that, I kind of got the idea that it was more about Cassandra trying to make a name for herself. By
in the journalistic world.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then later on, Lucifer's like, "No, I knew you were trans, and I was just being a dick."
Yeah. And
Cassandra's like, "Yep, and I don't forgive you, but I understand."
Did we mention that Lucifer's portrayed as a woman?
Yeah,
I know we said Lucy, but
yeah. So, yeah, the gods can go, it appears, come back in any form.
Yeah, but they don't get... you said... Well, any form that's a teenager.
Do they have to be a teenager? Or do we know that for sure?
Yeah, I think they have to be... Because so every 90 years, 12 gods return as young people.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's one of the whole, like, key things that they're talking about is you're a teenager, you suddenly become this god...
And then you only live for 2 years.
Yeah, and it's like that whole, like, dealing with that kind of... Responsibility is the wrong word, but dealing with the weight of knowing that, I guess. But that is counterbalanced by having these like godlike powers and having people like fawn over you and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I thought from reading the description and like how it opened and stuff, I thought it would be more focused on that whole like You know how one of the gods is basically a pop star?
They're all sort of performers, but there's
Yeah.
the Ammo one.
I initially thought that more would be about that like duality of them being these performers.
Well, it is the whole graphic novel is superly. It's super referential of the music scene,
Yeah.
like massively. Like Lucy is, they specifically say like you're a David Bowie wannabe, and she is. Like she has the Bowie androgynous thing going on.
Yeah.
And like the scene where they meet the Morrigan and Baphomet is all in an underground
Punky
it's
type
literally
thing, isn't it?
in an underground abandoned tube station because they're the representation of the underground music scene.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of references to names of things that are actually like songs.
Okay.
I think I can't remember what it was. There was one that I was looking up about Morrigan, and it was like a famous name of some song from America, and I was like, oh, and it was like an underground song, and I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But like that, I want to talk about the things I like, Liam,
Go for it. I'm not stopping you.
because I'm happy and I liked this book.
Yeah.
Right, I do love mythology. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an Egyptologist and study Egyptian gods because I thought they were fascinating. And I think
When did that change?
well, I wanted to be a paleontologist, then I wanted to be an Egyptologist, then I wasn't getting the grades for that, so I decided I wanted to be a video game developer. Then I didn't get the grades for that, so I did digital media at university, and now I'm a web developer. So, woohoo!
It all worked out in the end.
Yeah, perfect. I don't wish that I was studying the ancient Egyptian gods.
I watched a really interesting documentary the other day called Jim and Andy, which was about Jim Carrey portraying Andy Kaufman in the movie Man on the Moon. And there's a really touching bit where he was talking about how his dad was like really funny. And I can't remember what it was he wanted to be. It was a musician. But once he's like had the responsibility of a family, he decided to stop trying to pursue the music career. And it wasn't like a singer; it was like a saxophonist, I think.
Yeah.
And he became an accountant. And he said in his mid-50s, he got fired from his accountancy job. And he said it was really like it made him realise you might as well try and do what you want to do because you can fail at doing stuff that you don't even want to do. And that was like he said he had so much respect for his dad for kind of making that decision to like support his family, but equally like it was so heartbreaking that he didn't get to fulfill his dream.
Yeah,
it's a good documentary.
I'll watch it at some point. Thanks for distracting completely.
Well, no, it's just you talking about where you are now and what you wanted to be. Maybe you should look back into it.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know if I think it's quite a weird jump to suddenly go back to being an Egyptologist.
Why?
I don't know. Anyway.
This is 2018, the year of optimism.
That's true. I'm becoming an Egyptologist, everyone. Get yourselves ready for this podcast to become an Egyptology podcast. I really like the way this graphic novel takes like these ancient mythological characters and puts them in like a modern spin. So like, it takes the whole like Lucifer, who I'm sure is one that even you, Liam, and your anti-religion, no matter what religion it is, ways would know a bit about Lucifer.
Devil.
Yeah, pretty much.
Satan.
Fallen angel, bit of a baddie.
Naughty.
And in this they take they focus on the rebellious nature of that and they put it in like a modern spin. So instead of being just like, oh, Lucifer, it's Satan, it's the baddie, she's just like this rebellious teenager who kind of dicks with people but not anything ridiculously mean, apart from setting those guys on fire at the beginning. But
but I mean, they were shooting at her.
Yeah, exactly. That's like there's a whole element to that character where like it feels like she's not trying to be good, but it felt like she was a good person who just sort of is trying to live up to the name of Lucifer, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like from what we see, we don't really see her do anything that bad.
But I mean, like it's more like the thing she says. Like, so she says that Amaterasu, who's this like supposedly this lovely god who's just all nice, couldn't hurt a fly. She describes her as my best friend because she tried to fuck with her, and because she's so nice, she just ignored it. So then they just became best friends instead. And I was like, that's like if you were this god of evil. That's not what you do. You don't become best friends with people. No, definitely not. And I don't know. So it's like this kind of adorable, like, and then like you've got the Morrigan, who is an ancient Celtic god, and Baphomet, who's like some also pagan god, and they have like this sort of really dramatic goth teenager showdown in the subway where they like look like they're on the verge of killing each other, and then are both like, Well,
Laura kind of distracts them from it, don't she?
Yeah, she makes some over-the-top thing. I think she's trying to show them, like, oh, you're being so dramatic.
Yeah.
And then they're both like, yeah, she's right. which I was like, that's kind of cool. I like that it's like they've taken these god characters and given them like teenage attitudes.
Yeah.
Where they can be dramatic and a bit over the top and just need someone to go, what are you doing? Stop. I don't know, I think it's an interesting take on mythological characters, which I really like.
Yeah, I think so, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're just boring. That's fine.
Yeah, it's just... I guess, like, for you into all this sort of shit, then it's probably an interesting take because, you know, you're kind of familiar with the bog standard version of it, if you will.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone knows Lucifer.
Yeah, I didn't know any of the others.
I didn't know Amaterasu.
Yeah.
I know Baphomet.
Fair
I
enough.
know Woden. You know Woden.
Yeah.
Because it's Odin.
Yeah. Oh, also, quick question.
Yeah.
The beginning, like, literally, like, I don't know, 5 pages or so.
Yes.
What was that all about?
I think it's a flash forward.
No, it's It's a flashback.
Is it?
Well, it literally, because the certain sections are given times, right? So this is, the time is given is the 31st of December 1923.
Wait, where does it say that?
Literally, right.
Oh, yeah, on that bit. Yeah, okay, yeah. No,
So
right, sorry.
it's from like the 1920s, so I'm assuming this is like the previous round of the gods.
Yeah,
But it
it's
just
the
seemed
last
like
cycle,
a really odd way to introduce this comic because it gives you like such little explanation of what's going on.
Yeah, but that's interesting, right?
That's what I was going to say. Do you think they're going to come back to that at all, or do you think that's just going to be left there?
I'm assuming that stuff from past cycles is going to be relevant later on.
Okay.
Because that's a bit that does interest me. Like, I want to see more of these gods because it's like it almost seems like a random 12 that appear.
Yeah.
So I'm like interested in seeing other ones and how they are different.
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep reading this graphic novel, Liam. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and I do want you to kind of talk about it in housekeeping because that might inspire me to give like another one like volume 2 a go.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh my god, yeah, it's really amazing, and you know that whole murder mystery thing is really interesting, I might be curious enough to give the second one a go. But at the moment, I'm not.
I've just noticed something. Sorry.
Yeah.
That I think is quite cool, which is on the scene where Lucifer blows up the judge's head.
Yeah.
On that specific panel, like which is a full-page spread.
Yeah.
It's all done in a pop art style.
Yeah. How did you not notice that at the time?
Because I was staring at the blood and being like, look at the blood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really pop arty.
Yeah, which is cool. Again, I think this is like heavily inspired by.
There's another.
Pop
Yeah,
culture.
there's another bit that I noticed. I kind of didn't notice immediately, and then went back and looked where. You've got a main character talking, and then in the background, Laura is doing something, and that happens for like 3 panels, and then she's called out on what she's doing on like the 4th panel. I can't remember
really?
exactly what it is, but I remember like looking back and being like, "Oh, that was kind of neat the way they kind of did that."
Ooh.
I can't remember exactly where it is though. Oh yeah, sorry. So it is towards. So you know when they get shot at towards the beginning, right?
Yeah.
In the background, Laura's playing with a laser pointer.
I'm just trying to find the page.
It's right near the beginning. So, like, she's playing with a laser pointer. She points it at a sofa. Lucy kind of jumps on the sofa. No, sorry, not Lucy. Sakhmet. And Lucy says, whoever's teasing Sakhmet with the laser pointer has to stop. This isn't funny. Actually, it is, but... And there was like, this pointer. And that's before all of the shooting starts.
No, that's not Laura playing with the laser pointer.
Yeah, no, right. Sorry. Yeah, but if you look, right... So, Laura's there with the pointer. Look on the page opposite that. You can see her showing it on her hand. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't think that's Laura pointing it at things, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I hadn't noticed her playing with the pointer.
No, I hadn't seen that either.
That's what I'm saying. So I saw that and then looked back and was like, oh, that's cool the way that kind of connected there.
Yeah, they've got some really good attention to detail in this.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
I see. Yeah, sorry.
I just did it like a around the houses way because I don't have a lot to say, so I was filling time.
You did it in the nerd on nerd way, which is where we're both very bad at trying to explain what we mean.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I would recommend people go read this if they're interested in mythology or pop culture or.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, what would you say? Who would you recommend this to? What sort of person?
I think most people. I'd tell most people to give it a try.
So
if they didn't like the first one.
I don't think Kat would enjoy this. I would not recommend it to her.
No.
Nah, she's not into the whole like mythology stuff. Like she'd be curious about.
I don't think you have to be into mythology to get it though.
No, not to get it, but it's such a huge part of it. Like I think she would find the whole murder mystery thing interesting, but the whole god stuff she'd just be like, I'm not interested in.
I'm recommending it to you, Kat.
Okay, well, Kat, I've got it. If you want to read it, so read it and then let us know. Was I right to not recommend it to you, or was Ellie right?
We'll see. We will find out.
She won't read.
Well, then that's just not fair.
Yeah.
It's not a fair test.
Well, she won't be able to say if either of us was right or wrong if she doesn't read it.
Come on, Kat, read it.
I don't think you'll like it.
Stop listening to Liam.
I mean, all I would say is, how often am I wrong? Here's the thing with Kat, right? I love her and everything, but the first season of Gilmore Girls, every time I watched it, she was like, "Oh, I hate it. Oh, Lorelai's a terrible mother. Oh, I hate the way they talk." She was fucking addicted to it by the end of it. She couldn't get enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wear her down with things.
Yep.
Out of 5?
I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Oh, so we're not actually that far off. I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Your rating system does confuse me somewhat.
As I keep saying, I did like it. I just didn't.
No, that's not it. I'd imagine most 3.5 things you'd keep watching. Like that, you gave The Good Place a 3.5.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. I wasn't insulting your whether you liked it or not. I was
actually, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe it should be a 3 out of 5. Yeah, 3 out of 5 makes more sense. Yeah.
See, I was right.
No, I thought about it.
I was right, and Liam was wrong after making a point of how he's always right.
Which just goes to show I'm open to listening to other opinions.
Are you?
Clearly. I think 3 out of 5 is... The thing is, it was a very low 3.5 out of 5, and you managed to talk me down.
That's fine, I don't care.
Like, Good Place was a high 3... Like, I was toying with the idea of giving it a 4 out of 5, in all honesty, but it turned out just 3.5.
Fair enough.
Fair
enough.
But yeah, 3 out of 5, I think that's fair. It's just okay, isn't it?
No, it's really good.
Dear listener...
I don't know why you added the "isn't it" to the end of that, because you knew that I was going to disagree.
Yeah, so that would lead me on to say, dear listener, have you read The Wicked and the Divine Volume 1, the Faust Act? If you have, let us know. Did you like it? Did you read more?
If you haven't, let us know if you will.
Yeah. Have you read Volume 2? Should I read Volume 2? Would I like Volume 2?
Ellie's going to read Volume 2 no matter what.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Am I more likely to listen to you, dear listener, or to Ellie? Probably.
I mean, me and the listeners are listening, so that probably you didn't make much sense.
Yeah, but that was to the listeners.
Well, we had a fortunate week where I got something that I wanted, Liam, accidentally.
That's the second time that's happened so far in 2018, but...
Well, one time was I picked something that I wanted.
Yeah, and this time was like we both kind of picked it.
We both agreed to it with no idea what we were getting, and it just happened that it was something I wanted.
So we should actually keep tally of who's enjoyed the culture swaps the most.
Why?
I just think it'd be interesting. That's 2 to you so far, and I know
it's
that
going to end
next
up being
time,
you, I think.
Next time, I know
actually, no,
it's
it
going
will
to
end
be
up
me.
being me because I'm much more willing to like stuff.
Let's find out.
Or I'm easier to please.
Let's find out, because next time it's going to be me.
Well, no, I'm also going to like it. I know I like it.
Yeah, but not as much as I do.
Not as much as you.
Yeah.
Because next time, listeners, we're doing the long-awaited High School Musical 2.
A lot of people enjoyed our High School Musical episode.
Did a lot of people enjoy the video we posted of me dancing?
Probably. Are there going to be more videos of that?
Probably not.
That's a shame.
Well, it depends how much alcohol we have.
Yeah, I guess. I'm in an R-in, right? Because I want to do the High School Musical day, like definitely, for sure. That's happening. But I also want to go to the Chinese. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. What if we did the Chinese for lunch, and then we could have like the High School Musical afternoon, and we could just drink as much as we want because we don't have to go out that night.
That makes more sense to me.
That makes so much sense. Oh, it's such a good idea.
You're such a genius, Liam. Anyway, yeah, so High School Musical 2, if you've already watched High School Musical 2, which, spoiler alert, we have, we didn't officially do it for the podcast.
No, because you get funny if I try and do more than one film for the culture swap.
Yeah, weird that. So if you've already listened to it, watched it, let us know what you think about High School Musical 2.
Yeah. I'm excited because when we watched High School Musical 1, I was given a very strict rule that I wasn't allowed to sing or dance.
It's because I didn't want my first experience with it. I knew that would just make it worse for me.
Yeah, but now that you've already had that first experience,
we're both going to be singing.
All bets are off. Dear listener, check this, right?
Check this. Where are you? When are you from? Grandpa?
I've been listening.
Check out this rad story.
I've been listening to a playlist on this hip app called Spotify, right? And the playlist is just all of the songs from the High School Musical trilogy. Now, I've been listening to this pretty much non-stop. Every day when I have a shower, I listen to it. Sometimes in the car, sometimes just for fun. Since about early December, maybe even late November. So I'll have had like a solid 2 months where I've just been doing nothing but listening to the High School Musical playlist. So I am so prepared for watching these 3 movies. All the lyrics in my head, ready to go.
I do worry about you sometimes.
Why?
That can't be healthy.
What?
Just non-stop High School Musical.
I don't know. I remember like at the end of last year, everyone was doing the whole like, oh look, Spotify has told me everything I listened to this year, and mine was very predominantly skewed to High School Musical, and that was after only a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
It's brilliant.
I will admit, Carly Rae Jepsen got up on mine just because of that Cut to the Feeling song, because it's a fucking good song.
Well, will High School Musical make the entry on 2018, I wonder?
Let us know. And how do they do that, Liam? Smooth segue.
They could tweet us at NerdOnNerd. They could email us, nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com. They could Facebook us, facebook.com/nerdonnerdpod.
I think it's Nerd on Nerd Pod.
Nerd on Nerd Pod. I don't think there's dashes. I think last time, on the last episode, you said there were dashes, and I'm sure there is a...
I might just be lying, people.
I think it's just /nerdonnerdpod. Facebook.com/nerdonnerdpod.
Yeah.
There's no dash. If you're adding dashes, I don't know where you're going, but you ain't going where you need to be going. I don't think you should
add dashes anywhere.
Nah. Oh, don't forget, YouTube. That's making a comeback.
It's back.
Don't call it a comeback.
It's made a comeback.
What's that from, the whole don't call it a comeback? Some like emo shit, I think.
Did you say emo shit?
Yeah, like My Chemical Romance or something.
Fair enough.
God, don't call it a comeback.
We're getting distracted.
Oh, apparently it's from LL Cool J. Mama said knock you out.
Very emo. YouTube's
I thought it
not
was
made a comeback.
Emo thing.
Shut up. It's re-emerged. YouTube has re-emerged.
We've basically tried to do a little workaround so YouTube can get off its fucking tits about copyright bullshit.
Copyright.
Fucking copyright.
Yeah. So go back there, guys. Stuff will be going on there. How are you doing it, Liam? You're doing...
We've got a schedule going up, right? So here's what we do. We didn't want to just flood YouTube with everything.
No.
So we're basically posting practically daily until we've caught up, which is going to take over a year, I'm aware. The schedule is on Mondays, we'll do catching up with. So this week, for example, last week we did episode 1. This week we're doing episode 2. Mondays you'll find catching up with. Tuesdays you'll find the reviews of the shit that we've seen. Wednesdays will be either Nerd News. Do you remember when we did Nerd News?
Yeah, Jesus.
Used to do Nerd News. Or now it'll be Housekeeping, because that's quite a new thing. Thursdays will be Culture Swaps. And then Fridays is the full episode.
And then Saturdays and Sundays are nothing.
Unless we have exclusives. If we've got some exclusives.
Is that what we're calling them? Exclusives?
Exclusives.
We're going to bust out some of our exclusives.
Got some exclusives going up.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's what about. Do you know what I found the footage of the other day?
Yeah?
D&D.
No, I mean, I don't, so no.
When we did the D&D that we filmed.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I found the footage of that.
Maybe we should just burn that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been the Nerd on Nerd podcast. I've been Liam Underwood.
I've been Eddie Kempster.
You've been a fantastic listener. Thank you for sticking with us till the end of this nearly 2-hour episode. You're brilliant.
Any final thoughts, Liam?
Nah. Bye.
Bye.